Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Today I have an interesting topic to talk about. I think a lot of people would find it fascinating. When I was young, like 3rd grade, 4th grade, I would love topics like UFOs and Bermuda Triangle and the Loch Ness Monster and all these things, right? They were very intriguing. And as I learned more, understood more, I want to point out 2-3 preliminary points, and then I'll go into the actual subject. Number one, every culture has had its, boogeymans. Every culture has had its, you can say, vampires or zombies or the werewolf or churel, as it's called in Pakistan, or every civilization, and so the shayateen, they take different shapes, different forms according to the situation, okay? And clearly one would understand that a Muslim would easily understand that the jinns are a form of UFOs, or UFOs are a form of jinns, okay? And what is it that cannot be seen? It's unidentified, it can fly, and it breaks the laws of physics while flying. Or it can fly of course it's the angels, right? So that's one alien phenomenon that's out there. But the other one is the jinns. But why are we seeing more and more UFOs? And particularly now it has gone to the point of a boiling point. Because when Dajjal comes, he's going to have to prove he's a miraculous wonder worker, right? He has, and also don't forget the hadith of the Prophet, where the Prophet says that Dajjal will try to prove that he's God, and he'll throw up the sword and he'll say, see, I killed them, and he'll show the blood of God. And so what is this new theories that coming out that it's very interesting, the idea that, God didn't put us on earth, extraterrestrial put on us on earth. Because the fact is, and this relates to another point I want to make, which is that when we look to the sky, right, we have to believe something's out there. So if you're going to deny God, you'll make up something else, right? And you'll give that something else the attributes of God. It's like you say evolution did this, but then you give evolution the qualities of God, right? That somehow this process that is a random process somehow was intelligent, this process of evolution. Anyway, the point is that we look to the sky and we say there must be something there. It's human nature. And so if you're not going to believe in God, you'll make up something like God, right? You may not use the word God. But in fact, the truth is that something sinister, something evil, something dangerous is happening, and it is being now used, and it is getting more and more publicity at the governmental level. Like in the US, the Supreme Court has ordered the US Navy to look into these UFO reports, and I'm going to show you some things that will be very interesting for you. I'll try to keep this short, brief, and interesting, inshallah ta'ala. So let's get straight into it. I did want to make this point. Exoplanet that supports 3 suns, offering tantalizing sight in search for alien life. This is the interesting thing, right? The more improbable something is, the more skeptical something is, the more unlikely something is, the modern man wants to believe that more, right? You're willing to believe that there is an extraterrestrial life out there, why not just some bacteria out there? Why not some virus? Why something more smarter than man that put man's DNA on earth, and all these, fantasy ideas that we have? Okay, there's bacteria up there. So what? But no, we have to, conjure these ideas and these imaginations that there must be this, extraterrestrials on these UFOs, and they're doing all this and all that. That's great. But it's just not reality. And the thing is that you're willing to believe in that skepticism, that idea, that fantasy, right? يظنون is a dhan. It's just dhan. It's just conjecture. right? And you will believe in that conjecture. Rajman bil ghaib, they will believe in Rajman, they'll throw darts in the unseen and believe in that, yet they'll believe in this UFOs and extraterrestrial life and whatever, how they think they brought us on earth and everything. But yet they're not willing to believe in Allah, which is the most obvious thing. But because that is an idea already mentioned in the past, people have already believed that in the past, and by the nature of being a modern man, you have to come up with some other novel idea, come up with some other new idea that doesn't have to do with the past. This is the idea of being modern, and this is the predicament of the modern man, and this is the you can say the suffering of the modern man, that he's so uncomfortable with anything with the past. So he will believe in aliens rather than believe in God, because God has already been mentioned, and it comes from, and how can we accept the ideas of the people before us when we live in the modern world? We should come up with something better. So this is, the problem and the predicament and the condition of the modern man, that he's very uncomfortable with the past. And this is obviously a separate subject. So let's get straight into the actual subject, inshallah. So that was about that. But now let's talk about, so let's watch this clip very quickly, inshallah ta'ala.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing. It's rotating.
Okay. So let me just pause this so this is not making noise. So you get this, right? Here's another footage.
Well, after decades of denial and secrecy and flat-out lying, America's defense establishment is finally admitting...
Now, this is about lawmakers in the U.S. getting involved in the issue of the UFO. Okay, so...
some of what it knows about UFOs. The Navy has admitted that its pilots encounter unidentified aircraft so often that they've had to draft new reporting guidelines to allow pilots to come forward. It's easy to find this funny, but it's also scary if you think about it. Our vast, well-funded...
So I'm going to leave it at that. So they're this is Fox News talking about this, and you'll see Trump, what he has to say. UFO hovers over Jerusalem Dome and Rock Shrine, over on Aqsa. But even though this, it seems like has been proven to this particular story was a false hoax. But the fact is that in Israel, they're seeing more and more UFOs all over Israel. Okay, Pentagon releases a video of Navy jets chasing UFO. Alien believing group and support for Zionism. This is in Israel, okay? So here. Pentagon releases video of Navy jets chasing UFO. So, let me just show this to you.
Dude, this is fucking drawn, bro.
So this is another video. And you can see these videos on your own. Okay? But the points I wanted to make with you is Israel's nationwide report seeing UFO. Okay? Mystery in Israeli skies. Hundreds of Israelis nationwide flooded police hotlines Thursday evening with reports about seeing the unidentified flying object in the nation's skies. So obviously, if something is becoming hot in the of UFOs in Israel, then there has to be some connection, right? We already know by definition that UFO is jinn, okay? And these things, whether they appear as vampires or UFOs, these are things that have always been there throughout history. But now it's more sinister, right? And so now, especially in Israel, this is a whole list of sightings that they've had in Israel for UFOs, okay? And Navy pilots were seeing UFOs on almost a daily basis in 2014 and 15, according to a report. It's become such a big problem in the U.S. Navy and Air Force that they have had to develop new ways of reporting this. And they've actually become super concerned that maybe is this another nation or some country that's made this technology. They're really actually concerned. And because they have new advanced radars, they're seeing these things that they never saw before. Okay, and so now this is video shows Navy pilots encounter with possible UFO. Okay. U.S. Navy preparing to unveil new guidelines for reporting UFO. So many people are seeing them that they have to report new guidelines, okay, on how to report them. Navy reports increase in UFO sightings. Okay. Let us see this.
George also asked President Trump about reports of UFO sightings, and the president for the first time spoke about being briefed on this subject.
You and I, we know we disagree about that, but we have a whole day ahead to go on this. Before we go, one of the things you have as president is the access to all the information in the world, all the mysteries out there. And I was just struck in the last couple of weeks, we're reading more and more reports of Navy pilots seeing lots and lots of UFOs. Have you been briefed on that? What do you make of it?
I have. I think it's probably, I want them to think whatever they think. They do say, I mean, I've seen and I've read and I've heard, and I did have one very brief meeting on it, but people are saying they're seeing UFOs. Do I believe it? Not particularly.
Do you think you'd know if there were evidence of extraterrestrials?
Well, I think our great pilots would know. And some of them really see things that are a little bit different than in the past. So we're going to see. But we'll watch it. You'll be the first to know.
I want to be the first to know.
Hi, everyone. George.
So you get the point, okay? Why have there been more? Why have there been so many UFO sightings in the near nuclear facilities? I have a theory about this. And I think radioactive places, because when I've done ruqya and especially understanding jinns from a more of a scientific carbon perspective, and I've experimented with magnets, and I won't go into this right now, but I feel, and I could be 100% a billion times wrong, but I feel that radiation helps them get some energy or power and stuff like this. So Allahu A'lam, Allah knows best, okay? But why have there been so many UFO sightings near nuclear facilities? So this is a question of this article. It started in the 1940s near A-bomb development sites. More recently, something has been stalking nuclear carrier strike groups. Okay, so this is very interesting. Now, this is very interesting. If you pay attention, I'll try to make it big so you can actually see the different aspects of the radar that's trying to catch the UFOs when the Air Force is going to catch it. So just pay attention to this. This is, I think, going to be interesting. Now, I want you to keep in mind, this thing has a lock on an object here, right? It will break the lock, and it's so fast that it eventually gets back to the lock, but it breaks the lock, and then it finally goes away, right? But just, if you go through and see how he's talking about all the different sensors that they have, okay? So keep that in mind. Now it's become black because if you read there, it changes to TV mode. First it was to see if what is hot is white, okay, and what's hot and moving is white, and now it's changed into TV mode, and now it's black, okay? So now, just watch. Did you see how it lost the lock on it, and then it locked back on it, okay? And then you'll see it'll just go away. So there you go. Okay. So you also have this.
Look at that thing. It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the SA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
They do say, I mean, I've seen and I've read and I've heard, and I did have one very...
So you already saw that. And then finally I want to talk about this and we'll wrap it up. Why has there been an increase in UFO sightings in the world? UFO sightings may occur many times a day now. Why are there such an increase in UFO sightings lately? Technology makes it easier to spot UFOs. It is becoming socially acceptable to believe in aliens and UFOs. More aliens are visiting the Earth than in the past. Again, this is, just a belief system that they have about that. So, in the end, I want to say that the UFOs and things like UFOs and these unidentified flying objects, they are basically part of this jinn network, okay? And they are playing some sort of game towards the end game. End game meaning towards what the Prophet told us would eventually happen. And that is that, these forces would come, they're coming together. And why is there all of a sudden such a large number of sightings in Israel? This little piece of land, right? And why is there such a large sighting of these in military zones within the U.S.? And so when you ask these questions, and then when you look at the nature of these things, it's clear that they are jinns, and not only jinns, these are part of the world of shaitan, and they're up to something. They are up to something. They're up to something, and this is part of the game, part of the trap, to make people believe in something that eventually they will use to trick all the people to make it like it's obvious. Oh, it's obvious. These things, these aliens, these unidentified flying objects, they're, this. People will, anything can happen. And how Dajjal will use these things to his advantage. He will have control over those UFOs. And min kulli hadabin yansilun could also include the idea of these UFOs. If you listen to my explanation of that particular verse in the previously, it'll be more clear to you. Because hadabin min kulli, they go up in every angle and then they come down. These things that would go anywhere, that even planes would be included in that. UFOs would be included in that. Jinns going upward and then downwards would be included in that. So this particular phenomenon of ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر, Fasad has now appeared on land and in sea, and now even in kullu hadabin, now even in the air. Okay, so anyway, I want to end with this and leave you with these thoughts, and want to know, what do you think about how is this all interconnected? One thing that I'm sure about, UFOs are jinns. Number two, these jinns are part of a network that Dajjal is using to his advantage in the future. So how are these things interconnected? I want to know, what is your perspective, your ideas, your thoughts, your research. So inshallah ta'ala, I'll end here for now. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Make sure to subscribe today, and make sure you like, and make sure you leave your comments and ideas. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله